Hey, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Megan Waldrop. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here forever, thank you. And you've noticed maybe that there isn't any intro music. And I'm not even really talking about the title of the podcast because that's how I feel right now. I'm in the middle of this incredible transition of going from being a fisherman's wife or partner for 10 years. And now we sold the boat 6 months ago, and we are both navigating the after effects of what life is like. So, as a creative expression, and also because I feel that I want to take y'all on this journey with me, I am just sharing what it's like. It's undefinable. I'm just going with the flow as it comes every day, and I want to share it with you because I just want to be open and honest as I've always been, and I really appreciate that we can have this time together to really connect on real life stuff. I mean, we've talked about relationships, money. I mean, the list goes on and on. And yeah, and if you're new here, I appreciate you listening in because I feel like you're getting in on a ground level of a whole new chapter, which is really exciting. And yeah, it's the identity shift. I've talked about it last week, and I explained how we sold the boat a few weeks before that. October 1st was that podcast that I announced that we sold the boat. And what do you do with all that energy? What do you do with all of that knowledge and wisdom that you've gained over the years? Because once you sell the boat or you transition out of careers, it doesn't mean that it doesn't belong with you anymore. It doesn't, your identity doesn't just disappear whenever a career changes or the boat sells or the season ends. It truly evolves. And from my experience and what I've gotten to know of our beautiful community for partners of commercial fishermen is that POCFs continue to make a real impact long after their fisherman leaves. They're either running fish markets, sitting on boards, advocating at council meetings, and making sure the industry and our coastal communities continue to thrive. It shows that our roles may shift, but the heart of who we are stays rooted in this world, and we will carry it with us always. And it's such a beautiful thought, isn't it? And I was reminded recently of that at the Ocean Innovation Conference, just one day before I announced that we sold the boat. I sat on a panel speaking about the Partners of Commercial Fishermen community and still representing the life that shaped me while quietly knowing a big transition was already underway. And that experience made something really clear to me. It shows that even when your role changes, you can still show up, you still belong, and you still make a difference. And on the panel, I was asked a handful of questions about our community, the kind of questions you might get at events and interviews or even casual conversations about commercial fishing. And I'm sharing them with you below because if any of these answers speak to you, take them, make them yours, use them in your next speech, presentation, a grant interview, or the next time someone asks you what you do or why this industry matters. Because every time we share our stories, we strengthen our community and remind the world that Partners of Commercial Fishermen aren't just behind the scenes. We're a part of the bigger picture, and we can influence people to invest into wild caught seafood. I saw this it was like an Instagram post that was posted by someone in our community. And it said, instead of asking why wild caught seafood is so expensive, ask why imported seafood is so cheap. Mic drop moment because of all of the people behind the scenes working hard on the ocean, following those rules and regulations to get quality seafood for the world. And man, there is no comparison between taking a bite of a wild caught seafood and any other kind of seafood. I could do it with my eyes closed. I could tell you it's wild caught or not. I'm sure many people out there could do the same. And maybe if you're not in the industry, I challenge you maybe to go to the store, and even maybe you haven't tried wild caught seafood because you've always gone a certain way. And that's fine. Because, honestly, I didn't really know what the heck wild caught seafood entailed whenever I started dating Chris. I mean, I loved wild caught seafood because I grew up a lot of the time in the South. And so seafood is a big part of our culture here, but I just didn't really get it on the deep level that I do now, obviously. And this kind of goes into some of the questions I was asked on the panel, and I wanted to share them with you here. So the panel was called Founders Navigating Blue Tech. And there was four of us on the panel. It was an incredible array of different people who are doing all kinds of amazing things for the ocean and for the communities. And so one of the questions was, what inspired you to start your company, and particularly in the blue tech ocean sector? And so many of you know this story, and maybe some of you do not, but I would love to share it with you again. And what inspired me was that I fell in love with a fisherman. I had no idea what the heck that even entailed. Chris was living in Washington at the time, and I was living in California, and we long distance dated for about 9 months. I was an editor at a local paper in Santa Barbara, California, and he was working in Alaska during the summers fishing sockeye salmon in Bristol Bay, Alaska. And then he was living in Bellingham, Washington, and working on boats and doing electrical work for the rest of the year. But he's from Santa Barbara. So that's how we met. He came home after being in Alaska for the summer to come home to see his family. And he came into my office because his friend was the publisher of the paper. And yeah, the rest is history. I asked him out and then we ended up long distance dating for 9 months. So 1 month he came down to ask or to come visit me. By the way, y'all are getting the extended version. I did not go on and on like this. So y'all are getting the behind the scenes. But he came down to California and he said, "Oh, just to let you know, I'm heading to Alaska to fish sockeye salmon for 3 months." And I thought, 3 months? I mean, I've been okay with seeing you every month, but 3 months? I'm 33 years old and I live in California and it's about to be summertime. Do you realize the sacrifices I'm making to be in this relationship? I mean, honestly, girls, everybody needs to really figure out what are they getting into? And that's what I felt. I was like, wait, you want me to wait 3 months and starting in May, June? Okay. I guess I really need to take a step back. And also, I'm thinking, do I realize the sacrifices I'm making to be in this relationship? I mean, this is asking a lot out of a person. As many of us know, and many partners of commercial fishermen realize, it's not a lifestyle built for the typical relationship. It is not. It is a completely opposite. It is adventurous. It is filled with amazing experiences and joys and challenges that a lot of people just don't want to sign up for. So I had to take inventory and figure out, okay, well, let me figure this out. There's got to be some resources online that I can find about this lifestyle, because it reminded me a lot of my childhood as a military kid and seeing the spouses send their soldiers off to war for long periods of time with limited communication and having to hold down the fort. And I remember the spouses had so many great support groups out there on the different bases, particularly when we lived in Germany. They had great wives clubs and different kinds of groups like that. I'm sure there's even more now. So I Googled how to date a commercial fisherman, as one does, and there was absolutely nothing about the lifestyle online, which blew my mind. There was a few blog posts about dating a sports fisherman, but it was mainly, things like, well, they're going to leave the tackle box open on the dining room table. And I'm like, that's great. But I'm wondering, is he going to die out in Alaska? And like, how do I feel? How do I feel about this? And where's the support for this? So as a journalist of 12 years at the time, I think it was like 6 or 7, but I had a blog that I posted previously published works mainly as a portfolio to get future writing gigs. But I decided to write a piece called 9 Things to Know When Dating a Commercial Fisherman, just to put it out on the internet. I didn't think about anything of it. I felt like there needed to be information out there. And it was sweet, but it was also like a little, hey, heads up, just to let you know, this is what happens if you start dating a commercial fisherman. Here's some things to expect. Published it, didn't think anything of it. And then I got emails from women from all over the world saying that they could relate and that it really spoke to them. And it really touched my heart so much, because not only, well, number one, it made me feel less alone. I thought, oh my God, I'm getting emotional thinking about it. But I'm like, they're validating everything that I felt. And I was too scared to share with other people because my friends and family don't know what the hell's going on. I mean, even as people in the military, very similar lifestyles, but it is different, especially if you're a daughter or you're related to somebody, than being in a romantic relationship with them. It's just completely different. And, I also kind of felt at the time, I almost felt, I don't know what the word is, but maybe a little guilty for the fact that I didn't really enjoy sitting around a table with fishermen after about 30 minutes. It was all great. I loved hearing the stories, but about 30 minutes and they start talking about boat parts and engines. And I was effing bored. And I was like, this kind of sucks. Like the fact that honestly, not only do I have to worry about you dying, but now I have to hear about engines and shiz that I don't even care about. This blows. And it was funny because I'm with a table of fishermen and women fishermen as well, and they're all up in this conversation. I'm like, please, Lord, change the subject. Like, what can we talk about? Anything? I felt so isolated. It was very, very difficult for me. And the fact that women from all over the world, I'm talking Australia, the UK, Canada, all parts of the US, said that they could understand. I thought, oh my God, there's people like me out there. Hell yes. I want to connect with these women and I want to show them that we exist. And here's our conversation. Let's have our own conversation at our own dinner table. And so I wrote more about my experience in the industry. And then I started interviewing the women that wrote me, and they were so generous with their time, and they would share about their experiences, and I would post pictures of them on the blog and these interviews to show others that we're not alone. This is what they look like. This is the challenges that they're going through, and here's some of the reasons why they love this lifestyle, because it's so unique and we're not alone. And that's really how our incredible community started, was me feeling completely isolated, completely just, what am I doing? What, I don't understand any of this. I'm starting to not only feel guilty, but resent it a little bit, because this is taking up a lot of time. And now I'm realizing that our life revolves around this one career that really is going to dictate our time together and what we do. And also, on the other end, give us more freedom than any 9 to 5 job would ever entail. I mean, really. So, I mean, there was the balance of it all. But what started this community was the fact that I had nobody. I didn't have any community. I had no friends or family that I could relate to. And the fact that you guys have been so open to listen and to write and to read and to share your own experiences has meant more to me than you'll ever know. And it's just so beautiful that we're able to come together in that way. And so you are the inspiration that started this company, and I can't thank you enough, always and forever. And now we're here. We have a presence online. There is always going to be the access to our private community if you ever want to join and talk to other fishermen, spouses, and wives and partners about challenges that are going on. That's none of that is going away. But the main focus of what we talk about will shift, and it's all in benefit to what I feel for me personally has helped me feel more grounded and steady during these volatile times and the career, into this lifestyle, and really just to anchor into who I am and into myself. And I'm really excited to share more of that with you going forward. So thank you for listening to that. And I truly do appreciate you so much, more than you would ever know. Okay. So we're going to go to the question 2 that they asked. Like I said, y'all are getting the behind the scenes of this one. So what was some of the biggest challenges you faced in the early stages of your startup? I feel like I'm just going to be emotional this whole time, because it is such a reflection. But to be honest with you, as I always am, the biggest challenge for me when I started this was believing in myself, was thinking, who am I to talk about this? There are women who have been partners for 40 years, 50 years. They are salty AF. They come from generations of fishing families. They know what's going on with the boat, and they might even actually enjoy talking about boat parts and engines and stuff. Who am I to talk about this and to say that I can share our voices? And then I realized, well, it's because I'm doing it. That is why I need to do this, is because I am doing it. I'm moving forward with this. And yeah, believing in myself was just saying, well, this isn't about me. This is about the community. This is about sharing the other voices of women all over the world, and to really talk about the nuances and stuff that nobody freaking talks about, and that nobody really understands. And so that's what kept me going. And what helped me the most always were the emails and the messages from other POCFs who encouraged me along the way. and would ask questions on how to move forward in their relationships and gave me new ideas of new content and new topics and conversations to have and to really get deep into it. Like it's like we're all having a coffee night, or I don't drink anymore, but it's like everybody bring your own beverage. Let's sit around in our comfy pajamas and let's talk about what the F's going on in this lifestyle. That was truly the biggest challenge, was wondering what the hell did I think I was doing trying to lead this. And then the what made me feel more validated than ever was always hearing from you and the encouragement. So thank you always for that, because I always say it wouldn't be a community without you. And I truly mean it. I would just be talking to myself and I wouldn't have any kind of enlightened moment to know that, oh, okay, well, A, I'm not alone. B, oh, that is a good question. I've thought that too. How do we go further into this? Who else can I talk to about this? What other people in the industry can I bring in? So the biggest challenge, believing in myself and knowing that others had my back. I mean, that was truly the biggest confidence boost ever. And so I appreciate you so much. So, number 3 question, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who want to start a company in blue tech or the ocean sector? This was such a great question because there are so many different things that come to mind. And one of them is prepare to lead. Be prepared to speak to different audiences and use tailored language and storytelling to help them understand why your business is important to you. Because it's so easy to talk to somebody who understands the commercial fishing life. And I remember the first time that I spoke to the public about the Partners of Commercial Fishermen, I realized, oh, I need to totally bring this back to square one. Like, we need to talk about what a fishery is. Let's talk about what a fishery is. It's a certain particular area where a certain species of fish is caught. There's also multiple fisheries in a certain area. You can catch spiny lobster and you can catch sea urchin in the same area, but they're 2 different fisheries. You get permits for those fisheries. I mean, I had to, break it down so people really understood the technicality of it all. And then I'm speaking to business people about it. So I need to talk about what the POCF means and how does this business, show up and scale around the world. And it was really interesting to talk about, competitors or why this community is different. And then you talk to people in the fishing industry and it's like, okay, well, let's talk about what are the real concerns for us. A lot of people, it's obviously the relationship connection. That is the tide that binds us as partners. But also it was, how do we speak so we are heard? How can we show up to these council meetings and instead of screaming and crying, because that's how a lot of people feel, and it's totally valid, I totally get it, but what are tools that we can use to actually get our words across? Because you could be screaming and crying the most beautiful points, hitting all the targets, but people aren't going to hear you if you're too emotional. That's what sucks sometimes, is that's part. But it's just figuring out who you're talking to and being prepared to be a leader. And I know that a lot of Partners of Commercial Fishermen have stepped into those roles. They're on boards, they're talking to city councils, they're the voices of their communities. And did you think you were going to do that when you started dating your fisherman or fell in love with this person who happens to commercially fish? Like, no, but we step into the roles because we realize that, well, we might have skills that fishermen don't have, like being able to connect with others, and we have time more than fishermen have, and we're more easily to connect with because we're not out on the water all the time. And so there are these other strengths that we have that we can speak up. And a lot of the time is also the fact that you're even living this life makes you a leader because you have experience. It doesn't matter how long or whatever it is. If you've been in a season with a fisherman, you are experienced enough to talk about this life. If you've been with a fisherman during even less than a season, you could talk about anything. I mean, that's the thing. It's just understanding the wisdom that you're gaining. So if someone who is aspiring to be an entrepreneur, be prepared to lead and be prepared to talk to people outside of what you're doing and explain to them in a way that they can understand it. Because not everybody's going to get this technical scientific talk, but they will understand personal stories and things that are important to you. They'll learn through stories that you share. Okay, number 4, they asked, What change do you hope your company will make in ocean health over the next decade? And I might have said this quote before. I think I did a few weeks ago when I was on the podcast with Beth Cassoni of the Massachusetts Lobstermen Association. I told her, it's my favorite quote, you can't learn to swim by reading about water. To understand the ocean, you have to listen to the people who live it every day. I'm going to say that again because you got to put this in your pocket. This is a good one. You can't learn to swim by reading about water. To understand the ocean, you have to listen to the people who live it every day. And what the change I hope that the POCF community will make in the ocean health is that the industry recognizes that partners and families are as a vital part of the conversation. Over the next decade, I'd love to see fishing families included in research, policy, and innovation discussions, not as an afterthought, but as core stakeholders. We have the wisdom. We know what's up, okay? Fishermen know more about the ocean than any machine, survey, whatever will ever know because they're on it every single day. They know what it's changing. They know how the ocean changes. They know the sea state. They know how the catch is increasing or decreasing every season. And I'm sure as hell know that the partners know that too because they see it in the bank account. But what really hit me after this conference was just how deeply connected I still am and will always be to the commercial fishing life and to our incredible community of partners and commercial fishermen. Even though I'm no longer living this day to day of being a POCF, I'm forever grateful for what it has taught me and the strength it built in me and the memories and stories we now share. And the same goes for you. I mean, seasons change, boats get sold, careers shift. You might be moving, you might, maybe shifting away from people that you once hung out with. Maybe it's addiction, maybe it's a journey of sobriety, which I love talking about as well. That is a huge transition, an identity shift is who am I now that I'm not a part of this, party scene, this drug or substance, this career, this industry, this whatever it is. But the wisdom and the resilience you've gained doesn't go away. You carry it forward. You shape these conversations that you're having and you influence change just by being who you are. And to all my partners of commercial fishermen and supporters of, let me tell you, the relationships we built here, there's absolutely nothing like them. Even if we've never met in person, we understand each other in a way that only this lifestyle can teach us. We see each other on a deeper level than most people in our lives will ever realize. And as I moved into this next chapter, some of y'all will come along for the journey. And I would love, of course, obviously, I'd love that. But some may feel like our time together has run its course and truly both are more than okay. Because what matters most is that you follow what feels right for you. Because that's what community is all about. It's supporting each other through every transition, identity shift, every brand new beginning, whether you're on the journey with the person or you decide to go off on your own. I'm endlessly grateful for your presence, whether you're here for a moment, a season, or a long haul. Every time you open an email, listen to the podcast, engage on socials, read the blog, or send a message, it matters, and you truly matter. Thank you for being a part of the Moments of Transition with me. We're going to be talking about this more throughout the rest of the year. And I really, truly, appreciate always the connection that we've built. Thank you for always being here. And I want to end this episode with a moment for yourself to honor a recent change, or if you're going through a transition now, or if you know you will in the future. So let's just shake it off real quick. Woo. And wherever you are right now, take a moment to pause. Maybe you're driving, walking, or sitting with your coffee. Just let yourself be. This is a short reflection to help you find calm in the middle of change and reconnect with who you are to be. Now, bring to mind the version of you that's lived this last chapter. The one who carried responsibilities, dreams, and lessons. The one who showed up even when it was hard. You might imagine gathering those lessons like smooth, colorful sea glass in your hands. The lessons you'll take with you and into what's next. And anything that no longer serves you, imagine it gently washing away with the tide. So take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, silently say, "Thank you for getting me here." Inhale and exhale. One more time. Inhale and exhale. Now reflect for a moment and ask, what gifts or lessons did this experience give me? What do I want to carry forward from it?